We know that Obaseki, by the political culture in Nigeria, as the executive governor, is the leader of the party, the PDP, and his position is very clear. At this point, so long as my party is concerned, and so long as Edo State is concerned, Edo deserves someone from Edo Central. It's not really going down well with Mr. Philip Shuaibu, and of course, by his pronunciation to throw his hat in the ring in the contest already shows that his position is let the party throw it open. Let me start by asking you, from those two differences, clearly delineated differences, what would you say is the temperature of the PDP as we speak? Because of course we know that the PDP has been fragmented into shrapnels and pieces in Edo State because a lot of stakeholders have their own caucuses and all that. But how will you describe the PDP currently in terms of whether it has political momentum to be able to, gather enough traction to be able to win the election? The PDP, for starters.
In my kind of opinion, when you describe the state of PDP just now, I don't quite buy that viewpoint, because yes, the way you describe it is like
you are allowed to
the fall of Babylon.
You are allowed to differ.
Now, my point is this. You said they are broken into pieces. They aren't really pieces in that sense. We have, even in parties that are extremely united, you still have diverse views. There are factions. The two major divide, as it were, is the folks who were leaning towards the former party chairman in the state and former the national vice chairman, and those who similarly are pro the governor. And the governor is the governor of the state, the leader of the party. So those are the two divides, basically. But I think to a large extent, by legal instruments, the governor side emerged victorious. Unfortunately, to the best of my knowledge, there has not been harmonization to ensure that there is some sense of peace in the party. So that is where the divide stands. There are not as many as you put it, as if they are in pieces. Now, secondly, on the issue of the governorship, now the governor has his right to support a candidate or whoever he chooses to support. He has one vote, but he has influence because of his political status and our political trajectory. The Nigerian political system is such that the resources to run an election is much easier when you have power at the center. So anybody the government panders to has so much advantage. It's not about Edo State. It's about the Nigerian political failure, where not the people in general are seemingly encouraged to participate by their financial contribution, which makes them take ownership. But rather, a few people are the ones that finance it, sometimes even just one person. That is why some people say what we have is actually oligarchy, which was what Clarence Tennis fought against to bring about democracy as far back as 507 BC. So my point is this. The governor has his right. But in this case, I said I had a bias. My bias, to a large extent, wears the gap of objectivity, considering the moment. Because Edo State has 3 senatorial districts.
Okay.
If you want to extract this Fourth Republic from 1999 till date, which is about 24 years, the first governor was from Edo South, Chief Lucky Nusara Benedion. His deputy was from Edo North. It's a joint ticket. What it meant was that Edo North and Edo South and Edo North enjoyed 8 years of that joint governorship sale over the state.
Okay.
Between 2008 and 2016, because Osumba won election in 2007, but by court verdict, it is null and void.
Yes.
Before the law, it never existed.
Yes.
So it cannot be counted.
Exactly.
It was there for barely 20 months. So between 2008 and 2016, Osomole held sway from Edo North. His deputy, Dr. Kwesi Odubu, is from Edo South. Another 8 years of Edo North, Edo South tangle on power in the state. That makes it 16. Now, from 2016 to 2024 that we're headed presently, 2 cycles of the tenure, as it were, Edo South has produced the governor, Godwin Obaseki, and Edo North has produced the deputy. That makes 24 years of uninterrupted power holding between Edo South and Edo North over the state. So the clamor for a change is not cast in stone. It's not a law per se, but it's a latent viewpoint, latent but dominant, even among those from the different senatorial districts. Talking about Edo North and Edo South, if you x-ray the view of the populace, because of that spirit of justice, that perception of some sense of fairness and equity, they say, no, it's better for this thing to actually go to the third senatorial district, so that some people will not feel as if it is not there at all. Unfortunately, in Nigerian democratic practice, it is not difficult to just limit it to just one sphere. If our democracy had evolved enough, where the power actually belongs to the people, if it actually reflects the words from which democracy was derived. Democracy was derived from two words, two Greek words, demos and kratos. Demos means the people, kratos, rule or power. So democracy is actually rule of the people. That was what Cleisthenes introduced over 500 BC to address the dissatisfaction of those in Athens against the oligarchy and dictatorship that was prevalent. So people from the different central districts have that feeling. Unfortunately, in our Nigerian practice, power is so centralized and absolute. And because of the culture of impunity, anybody that has it can pander or maximize the benefit to his region. So it now makes it more necessary that there should be participation of all and sundry from the standpoint of senatorial divide or regional divide. The last election, was APC not inclined to give it to a northern candidate? Some of the leadership of even the party chairman, was it not the name of Lawal that I submitted initially? All of a sudden, where did the glamour come from? Some governors in the north said no. For the sake of justice, power has been in the north for 8 years. It wouldn't make sense for it to not come back to the north. Secondly, we may end up losing the election because people will vote from the standpoint of some sense of fairness and equity. They stood against it. That's how the party now to bring it back to the south. That's how people got the ticket. That's why I said it's latent. It's not very pronounced. It's not stated in the constitution. But for parties like PDP that have it clearly stated, especially in their constitution, so-called, in some form of power rotation, even if it's not as explicit as required to define where it should go to per se, but at least there's some semblance of it. So it is latent, but it's dominant. It manifested itself in the 2023 election at the national level. It manifests itself in so many other states of the country. It has not been happening in Edo State itself from the outset, not just now, from the Midwest era when the Midwestern state was created in 1963. There's always been that sense of, okay, this region has produced, let it go to the other region. That is the truth. So presently, the preponderance of opinion is such that Edo Central should be the central district that the ticket should come from, across party lines. That's not to say that some people will not contest from other places, because the field is open for all and sundry. But the core party leaders will normally consider the prevalent polls of party members and voters across the state in ensuring that it is structured to promote the possibility of it going towards a senatorial district for the sake of justice and fairness.